So CeOLT, the Certificate of Online Language Teaching, it's an initial teacher training course, meaning it is for everybody. It's for those who are just learning to teach for the first time. It's also for people who have maybe taught face-to-face before and they want to move online. So it is for everybody, but it is also assessed, which means you do have to pass the criteria, the assessment at the end, in order to qualify and become certified. So what are some tips you would give new trainees on CeOLT for passing the certification?
So the first thing I'd say is listen to your tutors, because we are here to help you. We have
not listen to the tutor, is that not?
Generally they do, but sometimes perhaps people want to kind of try to impress us by not doing what we tell them, but doing something else which they think might actually work better. Sometimes it does.
Innovation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But really, what we tell you to do is what we think will work best in that lesson. So listen to the advice we give, take that on board, try to apply that into your lessons. And all the things we talk about when we're giving you input and information about teaching, have a go putting that into your lessons as well. That's really important.
Yeah, so I imagine over the course of the program there are ups and downs. You have good moments, you have not so good moments. Yeah. What's your recommendation for that?
I think the thing there is that's not just the course. I think that happens in teaching, doesn't it? You have an incredibly good lesson, it goes perfectly, you're really happy with it. Then the next lesson, you planned it thoroughly, but it falls a bit flat. The next one's fantastic. These things happen. And I think perhaps that's even more on the course, particularly if you've had a really good lesson, you were nervous before it went really well, you feel on this high, and then for some reason the next lesson doesn't go as planned. Don't worry about it.
I remember that from my when I was a trainee. There's no better high than coming out and having a great lesson and getting a great mark for the lesson. But then you can feel quite deflated when you put even more work into prepping the next lesson. It doesn't go quite as you imagined. But as you say, it's about understanding that it's okay to have ups and downs, but it's your general trajectory.
When a lesson doesn't go as planned, actually that's sometimes a better learning experience for you. You actually learn more from that, and you know what to do differently the next time. I think tied into that is be realistic with yourself, and especially if you're new to teaching, but if you're new to teaching in this particular way, don't set the bar at a kind of impossible level and try to achieve that.
Because people like me, I guess, I'm the kind of person that would go into a training course like this, I'm going to get the top mark and just absolutely smash it. But you're saying that's not necessarily...
Yeah, and I think it's because it's a practical course rather than a really academic course. So you can work 24 hours a day, but you can. That doesn't mean the lesson will necessarily go perfectly, because there's so many variables, as you know, when we teach, and you can't keep on top of all of those things all the time. So be realistic.
Be kind to yourself during the process.
And to your student as well, in the sense that it's a 45-minute lesson you're going to teach. If you're teaching a particular grammar point to your student, don't expect your student to have mastered it by the end of 45 minutes. That's not realistic. It's going to take more time. And that doesn't reflect badly on you as a teacher either.
So it's being realistic about what you do yourself, but also on what's possible for the student to learn during the lesson. On the topic of planning lessons then, because you do have a lot to do in the course, and you're planning lessons towards the end of the second half of the program, you're teaching lessons every week. How should you approach this lesson planning topic?
Be organised. So don't leave planning till the last minute. So the way it works on the course is you'll find out what you're teaching towards the end of the week. You'll have a day or two to look at those materials, and then you'll have some time to talk about your lesson with the tutor. Then you finish your planning, and then you teach your lesson. So what you don't want to do is finish your planning half an hour before your lesson, because then you're really not in the right kind of frame of mind.
I might have been guilty of that myself.
We've all done it.
Yeah.
But it's an important skill beyond the course as well, because if you're teaching however many hours a week, you need to keep on top of that planning, so you're not rushing.
And presumably this is a lot easier for people who are coming to the course with some experience of teaching, or not? How does that work?
I think certainly in terms of planning, people will have developed those skills already. I think one of the challenges for people who aren't new to teaching is sometimes adapting to a different way of doing things. And that might be the whole kind of approach we take, or it might be just the fact of teaching online as well. So my advice there would just be open to a slightly different way of doing things.
And then if there are, if you do struggle with a certain element, let's say that you've been given a certain lesson to teach and you can't quite get your head around it, I mean, what's the right thing to do in that scenario?
Communicate is really, really important there. So obviously talk to us as tutors. Like I said, we are here to help and we will help you. But we really encourage people to talk to each other as well and, build up relationships with your colleagues. And that, like in any situation, like in a staff room after the course, you build up that relationship, and that can really help you get through the course.
And as tutors, you must be used to seeing all kinds of things going on. You're used to students who can ace it, and you're used to students who struggle more or have certain difficulties during the process. And you're used to supporting people when things don't go to plan.
Absolutely, yeah. Nothing is a surprise to us. We've seen it all.
Seen it all, yeah.
So however you're feeling, that's completely normal. And quite often people say, "Oh, I'm feeling really nervous about my lesson," or I'm struggling with this, and they think they're the only person feeling that. In reality, probably everyone is, but not everybody voices it.
Right, and it's very, very normal for us to have new trainees they really want to learn this new skill, to add this thing to their life, but they do feel nervous. They're not sure whether teaching's for them. So it's good to know that they will not be the only ones feeling that.
Absolutely.
When they come into.
Yeah. I think we've all been through that, and I still feel a bit nervous before lessons now, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it's actually quite helpful. It gives you that adrenaline rush. It keeps you focused. And I think actually it kind of helps you to enjoy it. And that's one of the key things. You should enjoy the course and you should enjoy teaching. It should be a good experience. And the more you enjoy it, the more your students will.
It is funny because it sounds like a kind of as a piece of advice, it's you've heard it all. Yeah, enjoy it. Okay. But actually, I mean, certainly when I think back to my training experiences, it's been some of the most fun times of my life. I love the whole experience. But I did put a lot of pressure on myself, just being the kind of person that I am. But I would, looking back, I really kind of wish that I'd actually allowed myself to enjoy it a little bit more than I did.
And what you see is at the end of a course quite often is bittersweet, because people are relieved, they've got through it, but also a little bit sad as well, because they have had such an enjoyable experience meeting these new people, meeting their students, that they're actually a bit sad that it's over. But then, of course, it's so easy now to keep in touch online anyway.
Absolutely. So lots of great advice there for making sure that you make the most of the CeOLT experience.